Hey everyone, it's David Spadowski here at Spitz Fitness. I'm joined today with Matt Ericksen. We're going to be talking about all sorts of stuff from fitness to entrepreneurship and follow along with his journey, what he's been up to over the last year. It's been a lot of changes, so I'm looking forward to catching up with them. So take it away, Matt. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about your background and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Matt Ericksen. I'm 24 years old. Just recently, almost a year ago, moved out to Arizona. I'm in Scottsdale. Moved for work. I'm really into personal fitness, golfing, and I just recently started my own golf company, releasing our first product later this summer. So I'm super stoked about that. Like I said, really into fitness, and David and I worked together before, and it's just been a blast. So really eager to talk and catch up.
Yeah. So just a little bit of background. Matt was finishing up school,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
And a mutual friend of ours put us together and helped him do an amazing transformation and get him super ready for a trip.
Yeah.
And, it was a great journey. And along the way, I saw this kid's passion just roaring with self-development, growth, and I just knew he was going to do something big. And we bounced ideas off of each other, and it was I think really good for both of us to really see the difference in how much you grew
Mhm.
in just 3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
So let's just tell people about what type of training you prefer to do in the gym.
Yeah.
Like, what's your primary? Is it powerlifting, strength building?
I
Uh,
I'm big into strength training. I'm big into lifting weights. I personally just love getting in there and spending that hour and a half and just going hard and challenging myself and doing whatever is possible to, you know, I always want to do something new every day, and I always want to challenge myself every day. So that's just one thing I love to do. So more recently, I've been changing my strategy to a little bit more cardio based. So I'm training for a marathon right now. I scheduled myself for October 25th in Arizona. So it's going to be some pretty hot temperatures, and I'll be training through the summer. So I'm really excited. But like I said, I'm eager to do it because I love challenging myself and love trying new things. And I don't want to go by every day and not say I never tried something. So here we are.
that's awesome, man. Like that's a huge change from strength training and going to the gym to running a marathon,
Yeah.
especially in like you're going to be in 100-degree plus weather all summer training.
Tomorrow we're already in 100-degree weather. So it's a huge difference. Back in the day, I would, if I was running, you probably should run as well, because I'm probably running from something. That saying is so true, because I couldn't stand it. And my sister was across country. She was in track, and that was never something I can understand, but it's challenging. I love it. It's just the whole different challenge of myself. And it's fun.
Yeah, like that's incredible, man. So you've done a few fitness challenges I've seen over the last few months.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, so I finished it's 75 hard, so Andy Frisella's program, 75 days, no cheating on your diet, 2 workouts, one indoor, one outdoor, reading 10 pages a day, drinking a gallon of water, and one progress picture, which the progress picture was the hardest of all of them, because I swear I'd have a list on my board, and that's the last thing I would knock off every day, and I always forget about it. I was never a problem on eating and water intake, and outdoor workouts and indoor workouts, like, that wasn't the most challenging for me. But that progress picture, and it was something that just held me accountable, and just the amount of self-determination and grit that I gained in those 75 days was out of this world. And I know there's different phases that I plan on doing, rolling out pretty soon. I'm going to be doing one, phase one technically, during when I'm training for a marathon, and I'm really excited. And before we jumped on this call, I saw someone else did a challenge that was run 30 miles in 24 hours. So you run 5 miles every 4 hours. So I'm going to try and sneak that in there as well. I just love challenging myself. And a lot of these just sound insane. And I think that's what makes it more exciting, because I don't try to be, the most vanilla person, the most cookie cutter person. I try to always make myself, to differentiate myself as much as possible. So I love it. I love the determination and the grit and the mind game that you have to play with yourself when you do some of these things, because your mind plays crazy tricks on you. it's about, beating that away and just keep going at it, because David Goggins always says this: your body's always at 40% to what you really think you can do. And it's crazy how true that is.
I I will say some of the stuff that he talks about is insane. And some of the feats, from the pull-ups to
He ran
his
100
story.
miles in, I think it was like 19 hours. I was listening to, when I was running the day, I was listening to one of his videos on YouTube. He's a whole different type of human being.
100% agree. And I think one of the neat things with social media, it gives people outlets like him
Yeah.
to tell his story, impact others, inspire others,
Yeah.
to not be vanilla, not be the norm. Don't just go to the gym and have the same muscle group splits. Like,
Yeah.
challenge yourself. Like, what do you really want to accomplish?
I agree. I think that people fall into a habit and fall into the habit of doing the same things every single day. And that's why I learned that doing one thing a day that challenges you, and that it can be, like, it doesn't have to be fitness related. It can be going to a grocery store and talking to one person new a day. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes people, that are extremely introverts, especially, they dread talking to other people. But if you want to grow, sometimes you gotta expand out of your comfort zones, and that's one way to do it.
Yeah. I've heard of some of the ones. Tim Ferriss had one where you go to a coffee shop and you ask for 10 or 15% off your coffee
Yeah.
every time you go. So if you go buy coffee from the same place
Yeah.
every day, you ask, because the worst thing that happens, they say no.
Yeah, that's one thing I learned from my dad, and he drilled that on me, is the answer is always no until you ask.
Yep.
It's always going to be no. And that's one thing especially more recently, when I'm doing a lot more in my startup, is, I don't know a lot of this world is uncharted territory, and you got to ask questions, because you're never going to find out. And Google's a huge friend and a huge resource, obviously, and everything's out there, but even just reaching out to other people, and you got to ask people, you got to talk to people, and it's the only way you're going to grow.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So what drove you to, like, as you can say, entrepreneurship? Like, what's that driving factor to have something that's yours?
I think it's something that was instilled on me. I mean, my parents, my mom's a nurse, my dad's an electrician, and I always see the hard work and the effort that they put in. When I was young, I always had my own business. I cut lawns. I shoveled snow. I lived in Indiana, so lake effect snow off of Lake Michigan was pretty crazy.
Yep.
And I've always had these things in my mind that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to start, and I fell into the habit of starting them halfway and then quitting them, because I kind of got in my head. And I'd say a year and a half ago, I was working, and I was just kind of seeing some of the things that corporate America does, and I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I wanted to have more of an impact, and I wanted to change people's lives and change the world as much as possible and just leave a mark. And I think personally for me, that's one of the resources, and one of the ways I can do that is by owning my own business and growing something that have my name on it, and to hold myself 100% responsible and accountable for the lives of people, for employees, and the growth of the company. And I just think that's something that I've always wanted to do, and now I'm here and I'm actually doing it. And I told myself that I wasn't gonna, this time I couldn't turn around halfway through it, because I was getting sick of doing that too many times. And I wanted to try something new and go into a different industry, and just completely challenge myself, start from scratch, and build myself up from there.
Awesome, man. So what do you think, if you had other young guys that wanted to do what you're doing right now, like taking a risk,
Mm-hmm.
what are some advice? Like, what are things you went through? Like, you kind of hit on, like, a little bit of self-doubt.
Yeah.
Like, what are things that you did to overcome that? Like, what did you lean toward? Podcast or books, or what did you do for self-development?
Oh, I mean, self-development's huge in this industry, and huge in improving yourself. So podcasts, I went from listening to music and every day on the way to and from work. When I was working back in Chicago, and I was commuting from Indiana, that was an hour and a half each way. So I would listen to podcast after podcast after podcast, because I wanted to keep drilling the resources that I needed to listen to. And cut some of the crap that I shouldn't be doing anymore, cutting the time off of social media, cutting the time off of Netflix, just things that were kind of wasteful in times. And don't get me wrong, I still to this day will sit down and watch Netflix here and there to kind of relax myself, but the amount from going from many hours a day to I barely watch it anymore, and just pouring all this knowledge into my ears as much as possible. And I think one thing that really turned it around as well is I was never into reading. The only time I would read is if, when I remember back in school, we had to do it for credit for school. And if I didn't read a book, you can Google it, but it's not the same as actually reading it cover to cover. And reading a book now has been just incremental in my development. So I try to at least develop at least 10 pages a day, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that compounds day after day, year after year. So I think this year alone, I've probably read close to, I would say 10 or 12 books already, which that's the most I've probably read in my entire life. Like, I'm not even kidding. I was never into it. So that's definitely one thing I would encourage people to do, is just dive into personal development as much as possible. And then just got to take it day by day. It's good to have long-term goals and breaking them down, but I try to focus on the day that I'm in right now, and I try to win that day. So everything that I write down that I need to accomplish that day, I have to accomplish it before I can go to bed. I just have that feeling that I can't put my head down at night if I didn't finish what I needed to do that day. It was just something that I couldn't sleep beyond it, because I knew I didn't pass that day and I didn't accomplish what I needed to do. And in order to me to keep growing and improving, I have to, whatever I laid out for that day needs to be done.
So on that note, have you found in the past where when you were first getting into it, you might overload your days?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I would have lists that were probably 20, 25 tasks deep, and that would take me, some of them would take, especially earlier on, I didn't know how to do a lot of them. So it's not only completing the task, it's also learning how to do it in the first place. So, and I would go to bed at night, late at night. Yeah. And after finishing everything, and I felt accomplished, but I was just beat down. And I think one thing that I learned, and I learned this from Andy Frisell listening to MFCEO podcasts, is to win the day. And I now just dedicate 5 things I need to get done, and I just build it from there. So I try to do it in 5, one of the most important things I needed to do. And that's something that will always move me forward. And now I can finish those 5 things within the first, 4 to 5 hours of the day, and I won that day. And I'm still going to do this a little bit more, but it's just something that I don't have to load up my entire day and just beat myself down. Sleep's important, and you need to have sleep to continue to keep doing it. That's the only way you're going to continue the long game. So
how much focus do you put on sleep? How many hours do you try to focus on getting a night?
Now, more recently, I try to be in bed by 10 and up by 5. So at least I've been doing 7, which to me, that's a lot more than I have before. Before I'm not much of a night person. I love waking up early in the morning. And I probably before I was probably maybe getting 5-ish hours of sleep. And I compounded that day after day. I can do it consistently for 5 or 6 days, and after that, it's like that 7th day, I'd crash, and I wouldn't wake up until noon, and I'd start the day completely behind. So I found out that 7's my comfort zone right now. That I've been doing this for, I'm going to bed at 10, waking up at 5 for a few months now, and that's something that I'm used to. My body adjusted to it, and I feel comfortable waking up with that amount of sleep.
Awesome, man. That's pretty similar to my schedule. I don't try to, I think we all do this. 9-ish, don't look at my phone after 9, but with me running my business, I have clients checking in from the West Coast, like your texts are 3 hours different. So you're just getting off work when I'm, and then whenever I'm in the full swing of like clients in the day, I'm training clients Monday through Friday. Friday's usually the day I try to stop at 8, a little bit before. But Monday through Thursday, I'm, 5 o'clock in the morning till whenever it's done. It could be 9, it could be 9:30. I really try to focus on 10-ish. For instance, my schedule, let's just say I have a client that has to train, he's got to work late,
Mhm.
works in medical. He's got to train at 9. Well, I'm
Yeah.
going to have to drive to him. I get home at 10:15. My goal is to be in bed and asleep by 11. That's the goal.
Yeah.
That next day, I will try not to schedule anything before 5. I will
Yeah.
still wake up at the same time,
Mhm.
but I will accomplish something on my to-do list.
Yeah.
Then I will take my time with the rest of the morning and then jump into training clients. So, that's awesome that, how old are you currently?
I'm 24.
Okay. So like to give people a background, right out of school, Matt was training his ass off with me. We didn't do 2-a-days. There was no need for that with his goal. But this kid, if I gave him the program, he did it to 100%. He didn't cheat. He had everything to a T. So I knew just from talking to him and getting to know him during that time that, we're going to be talking for years down the road.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not training him, he's going to be pushing himself and I'm going to follow his journey. So one of the things we also talked about whenever we were working together is what podcast we were listening to. So back then, he's talking about his commute. So tell us what influencers or motivators back then you listened to and what has changed to now, or are they the same?
That's a good question. I back then I did a lot of the MFCEO projects. So Andy Frisella, I dove into everything that his world hard. I think that was the main one, and I spent most of my time on that podcast and listening. I mean, there's 500 episodes, so I started from one, and I just
Wow.
went in. So that was back then. That was the main person I listened to. Transitioning to now, I feel like I have a lot of the same beliefs that Andy Frisella does. So I try to challenge myself and I try to listen to people that don't. I try to, I try to listen to Gary Vee. So Gary Vee talks about, on social media, you should be posting 60 times a day. Andy Frisella says you should be posting, if you don't have anything to say, you shouldn't be posting at all. So
Yeah.
I try to go to the extremes, complete opposites. And I try to just challenge everything that I believe in, because maybe I'm wrong. I have no idea. I don't know until I try something. So I think now, like I said, Gary Vee is a big one. Ed Milet is a very big one as well. And I think and Chris Cavallini's the Start Today podcast as well. So I try to get it it's mostly all entrepreneurship based, and majority of them are also in the fitness industry as well. So it does have a spin-off into the fitness industry, but I think those are my main ones, and then also Tony Robbins as well.
Okay.
So which Tony's
Yeah.
amazing to listen to. I mean, he's been around obviously for a while, and he's got just a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah,
So.
but that's the thing. Like, you surround yourself. Now, I'm a huge believer in who you talk to on a daily basis, who you network with, who you want to spend your time with is who you are. Like, that's what you're going to be made of.
Yeah.
And, it's really neat to see, you're still sticking to the people that you found. And I'm sure you've tried some podcasts and they just weren't for you. Like, I used to listen to Gary all the time. And that was when I was growing my business. And a lot of the stuff he said works. A lot of the stuff I was able to take, very simple, easy said, and just run with it. Like, I was able to go in, leave comments on people's posts that actually meant something. Not like,
not
bro,
spamming.
you're doing good. Like I get that. And that's a one way that I see a lot of fitness people trying to grow their business.
Yeah.
I will read a girl's post on Transformation Tuesday.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, yeah, their body's changed, but they mentally changed. Their personalities are different. Their true happiness is out there, because the more happy they are with their body, the more they're going to spread their positivity into the world.
Yeah.
So, there's people that I follow that I've never met and I probably will never meet. but their transformation story has impacted. And I've watched these girls go from like 300 followers to 5,000,
Yeah.
which is nothing compared to influencers,
Yeah.
but it's the journey. And if that journey helps one person, that's worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, everyone's story is so unique, and it's going to relate to someone in some way. And a lot of the so-called influencers always post the good things. No one ever really talks about the hard stuff and what you actually have to do day to day. And that's why I love the smaller stories, the smaller fan bases for some people, because they post what they actually go through, and people relate to that so much more. And those
All
stories
right.
are so much more influential to watch.
I 100% agree. And that's like one of the coolest things I find on social media. I try not to like, the accounts that I really look at, they pop up more because the algorithm. But like for me, Lewis House, it's huge. If there's something that I might be struggling with, I can go to Lewis House and search, and there's a podcast. There's an expert that he's interviewed, and I truly feel like he brings on some of the best. I can say 5 podcasts that I've saved.
Yeah.
One of which, Tony Robbins, Lewis House.
Yeah.
So right there, like game changer in my opinion. That was one of the best podcasts. So from there, like, do you have anyone that you would say is a mentor or mentors? Like, who do you like? For me, I look at Lewis House. I look at, for business stuff, investing, Tony Robbins, Chris Hogan.
Mhm.
They're 2 different types, but very safe, looking at the future, long-term investing. And that's what I like to do for rental property, investing in stocks, mutual funds. And so,
Yeah.
for business stuff or anything, like what do you have as like mentors that you have in your life?
So yeah, I think that's I like how you said that. I always consider mentors to be, whether they know me personally or not, I'm still following them, and I still listen to and take what they say very seriously, and try things out. So there's a ton of them. I mean, most of my feed now that I have, I try to always make it as positive as possible, and I try to always get rid of the people that post some of the negative things. I try to always unfollow it so the algorithm knows that's not what I want anymore. So I like the Andy Frisellas, the Gary V's, the Ed Milet. I've been listening to a lot of Ed Milet recently, just because, like you talked about, it, he brings on experts as well, and he does a great job with drilling down to the facts and not sugarcoating some of the things. And then I think personal mentors that I know personally that I talk to day to day. First and foremost is definitely my grandfather. He was a businessman. He didn't own his own business, but just how much he worked hard. And his wife, my grandmother, she passed away from Alzheimer's, and seeing him when I was younger transition from diving into that work life to taking care of her and retiring and putting his family first. That's one person that I look to mostly, just in relationship wise and family wise, is huge. Because I have mentors in business, but I need mentors as well in the family life and my personal life. So my family, I'm very close to them, and they're always willing to give me advice, whether that I'm willing to be receptive to it or not. There's someone that I always go to, and I reach out to people all the time, whether they're big or small, influencers or not, on social media, and try and just bounce ideas off someone or tell someone what I'm going through or my ideas are. And sometimes I won't get a response back, but more recently I have been, just because I've been doing a lot more of video messaging instead of the usual just typing, because it's just more personal and doesn't seem like more a spam. So I've been really reaching out to a lot of people that are in the golf industry right now and bouncing ideas off of them, about like products that we're thinking about, ideas that we have, and showing them like my actual face and while I'm talking to them, instead of just a text. It's so easy to ignore a text, but if you send someone an actual personalized message of your face, talking to them, saying their name, it's just I think it's just way more impactful. So I have mentors for any industry you can think of, and it all ties back together too, which is great.
Yeah. That's the family thing is huge. Like both my parents own their own businesses. So that's kind of what led me 18, I'm a trainer, and I knew as soon as I pretty much I learned the business. You have to be in the trenches. You got to go I worked at a smaller commercial gym while I was still coaching gymnastics, but I go to gymnastics. Gymnastics gyms aren't open all day unless you're coaching preschool.
Yeah.
So I was coaching team kids from 3 till 8 at night, sometimes 9. But during the day, 6 a.m. till 2, I'm at the gym hustling, trying to get clients, training people. And I did that for a year and a half while I was still in college. So I was taking 1 or 2 in-person classes, and then literally, like, I would take a night class, like the 8:30 at night, after work hours, take one of those, take 2 or 3 online classes, study. Sleep was not a priority. There's no beating around the bush. Back then, there wasn't the energy drink market like there is now, where there's no sugar energy drinks. I just didn't need it. I was motivated. I wanted to work, and I wanted to help people. And that's always been my driving factor, is to help as many people as I can achieve their goals. So if that meant I had to train a client because they had a work trip that they had to fly out at 9 o'clock, well, in Savannah, the airport was not close to Savannah. It's about 45 minutes away. So that meant I had to train them at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning at the 24-hour gym. And that's what I did. And once I had the understanding of training, I decided, all right, I'm going to try to do this on my own. I'm going to start going to people's houses. And the overhead changed and all of that. And that mentality has not stopped. My hunger for helping people has definitely not stopped. And the day we're living in today, I have pushed every bit of myself on a Saturday to just reach out. If my clients need something, I'm texting them back. If someone needs something, I have been trying to implement what you were talking about, doing the video calls or doing a talk to text where you're recording your voice. Like, that's the greatest thing with our technology. Like, people will complain, technology is bad for you and blah, blah, blah. You know what? Technology can be good in all sorts of aspects. You choose your mindset every day.
Absolutely.
You wake up, I wake up. We roll out of the bed differently. We get up, our morning routines are different. And the thing that I find the most beneficial is your mindset when you get up and you set your path for the day. End of story. And I think almost every entrepreneur out there says that. You get up and you have your non-negotiables. So let's dive into that. Like, do you have a morning routine? And if you do, what's a non-negotiable for you?
I do. My morning routine so people make fun of me all the time when I go to work every day. So I own a business, but I also work full time. So they always make fun of me because we're starting at 8 o'clock right now. We're starting at 8 o'clock. So I'm up at 5 still. That doesn't change. So I'm still waking up 3 hours before, and I have to, no matter what, when I wake up, I jump in the shower. And one thing I always do, people again think this is crazy, I take cold showers. I couldn't tell you the last time I took an actual warm, like start to finish warm shower. Like sometimes I'll start with warm, but I'm always going to finish that with that shower that's freezing cold. Or sometimes I just take start to finish cold showers. And that's one thing I think, that starting off the day and challenging yourself and getting that down, it not only is good for you and beneficial for you, but you just feel more fulfilled and you started the day with a win. So, and then not only that, make your bed. I mean, people overlook the simple, basic things. And there's a great book it's called Make Your Bed. And it's a great book about how starting off the day with a win can change your day and change your trajectory. And just compounding that day after day after day after day, you get used to winning and you get used to doing things that are good for you. So make my bed, cold shower. I have to eat food. I can't go through a drive-through and pick something up. I ate the same thing every single day. I make 4 egg whites, one whole egg, spinach, oatmeal, and a tablespoon of peanut butter. That's my go-to breakfast every morning, and I love it. And it's just plain old oatmeal. I enjoy the heck out of it. And then after I'm done eating, I do some gratitude. So I have a notebook that I write down every single day of things that I'm grateful for. And then I have I will statements, and just things that's day to day that I will I usually say I will have a great day. I will be productive. I will work hard. And then one of them is business related. So I always say, and that's, again, it's going to sound crazy, but I write down, I will make Phor the biggest and most successful golf company in the industry. So I write that down, and then I say I will be free. And that's something I drill into my head every single day, just because you're not going to believe these things if you can say them, but if you don't believe them, if you don't truly believe them, it's not going to happen. So those are the main things that I do every morning. I try to meditate in the morning. I've been growing away from it a little bit. I need to get back into it because I notice a big difference. Even just 5-10 minutes, meditation is huge. And I've been experimenting with Wim Hof's method, with the whole breathing. And people overlook just breathing in general and how beneficial that is, and controlling your breath and having just, following the plan that he has. It's so beneficial.
Dude, that's awesome, man. And I think that can help so many people. The making the bed thing drives me crazy. I will admit, if I'm waking up and the alarm's going off, I do have a wife, so
Yeah.
I can't just run out of bed. She doesn't have to get up. So
Yeah.
I just pull my cover over, and
Yeah.
it's close enough for me. But
Yeah.
that's the first thing I do. Then it's the bathroom stuff and all that. And I'm blessed to almost 1 year now. May 1st is 1 year that I moved into a townhome. And honestly, when I first moved, I did not expect it, but within a month of living here, I told Liz, I woke up one day and I said, I'm not going to be a concierge trainer driving all over Atlanta anymore.
Yeah.
She looked at me and I said, you don't get to park in the garage anymore. And she said, I support you 100%. Let's go. And that was it. And people that have followed me knew I waited because I had already studied for years. When's the best day to buy gym equipment?
Mm-hmm.
Black Friday.
Yeah.
And I saved and saved. We're talking about June last year. I saved. When Black Friday hit, I bought my Monster G6 from Force USA. I bought a belt squat. I bought a reverse hyper. I found a deal on Facebook Marketplace and bought 750 pounds worth of plates.
Whew.
And I went all in because that has given me more freedom to help more people than anyone knows. Like when me and you were working, you knew I woke up at 4:30 and was in my car by 5, driving across town to sit in my car for an hour because I didn't want to fight traffic.
Yeah.
Just to do programming, just to do my check-ins. And that has given me, it was shocking. The first month that I was fully at home, so we're talking, I had equipment and I had already decided. So from June until October, I had enough equipment to train at home and I tripled my clientele. But during that time, I was sleeping 10 to 12 more hours a week, but training 15 to 20 more sessions a week.
Wow.
And that was the huge difference. And it was setting my mindset and not wavering.
Yeah.
And I think it's awesome that you don't start work till 8, but you're up at 5 o'clock, you got your morning routine. And I think that's super beneficial to really achieve what you want.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about Phor.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what you're working on. Like, I'm super excited for you, dude. Like when you announced it to me, we bounced ideas back and forth. I think you probably sent me 10 ideas when we were working together in just like 3 or 4 months. But this one is like, you've taken off with it. Like, so tell me about it.
Yeah. So I was golfing. Like I said, I moved to Scottsdale, Arizona. So Arizona is known just for their golf courses. And I've always been one to play sports. So I knew that I wasn't going to play football for the rest of my life. I wasn't going to play baseball for the rest of my life. And I was trying to think of something I could be competitive in. And golf was my next best one that I have the longevity to play for forever. So I went into the golf industry, started playing, and I was playing on a course and I had an idea. I came across a situation and a scenario where the stars just kind of aligned, and I had that epiphany, and I thought of an idea for a new product that will help benefit people. And I love helping people, and I love making their day easier and making their lives easier, helping them, whether it's at saving time or just making them happy in general. So I thought of a product for an idea, and I instantly texted tons of people, and whether they're in the industry or not, and bounced ideas off each other, and grew it, and took on a business partner, and we started rolling with things and started learning. So this started back August of last year, and it went from, I had an idea of a product, I had a sketch written down, and we went from there to, okay, now how do we make this? How do we actually do this? And we both had no idea. So like I said earlier, Google is your friend. So we just started looking up and researching things. We were determined and excited, and that fire hasn't went out. We're super excited. We're going to be releasing this product sometime later this summer, and it's going to be so exciting, and it's going to help a lot of people. And I can't say what it is yet because we haven't released it yet. So we'll have to do another interview later on after it's released. But it's going to be really exciting to see people's reactions and to help a lot of people. And like I said, I have their whole mission behind Phor is to innovate the golf industry. And I think that's one thing that as time moves on, technology changes, and with innovation comes really new, exciting things. And people either adjust to it or they don't, and they're going to get ran over by it because it's going to happen regardless. So, we're really excited to bring that to an industry that doesn't really change very often. And it's going to be a blast. And it's something that, we're learning as we go. And we've, had a few launches early on with some clothing, and, we just been trying to mess with some things, but this launch when we have later this year, it's going to be big. We've been reaching out to some big influencers in the industry, partnering with a lot of different companies and a lot of different people. So it's going to be blowing up pretty quick. And it's really exciting. The whole thing, like I said, my fire for it and my passion and desire, I wake up every day thinking about it. I go to bed thinking about it. It's going to be a blast.
Dude, I'm beyond excited for you. Like, we'll definitely have to do another one, a follow up whenever you launch the product. So then we can see where you're actually at, like with everything, getting it out, and talk about it and let more people know like what it's all about. So, just seeing your drive and everything it's very motivating. You don't see the people actually going through it all. Like, you're in it right now. You're in the trenches. You haven't launched the product yet. You're putting in the work. If someone else is in your place right now, what are a few tips that you could give them to stay focused on the goal?
The first and the most important one that I've been focusing on is just, like I said earlier, taking everything day by day, and starting when you make that task list and make it non-negotiable, and don't go to bed until you finish that, because you're never going to be totally satisfied with your day, with yourself. And then the other thing is just to reach out to as many people as possible. A lot of people are afraid that, oh, I had this idea, I can't tell anyone about it. And like I said, that's not a hypocrite because I'm not talking about it right now, but we talked to so many people in the industry, and what our initial vision for this product was evolved as we kind of talked to more people, and people gave us their 2 cents, and it's turned into something that's going to be way more impactful than what we originally had the idea for. So I think, talk to people. Like you said, we talked about earlier as well, the answer is always no until you ask. And, when you start off so small that you don't have a big following, it's hard to get your message out there. Yeah, you have all the paid advertising, but if you only have a limited amount of income and disposable capital to put into it, you got to be creative and reaching out to people and offering them different types of, sometimes we don't have the budget. We can't just offer someone, hey, we're going to give you X amount if you help us, sponsor our product and talk about it for someone. Sometimes you got to be creative and offer them, hey, we're going to give you X percentage of sales that go through your site for our product. And there's going to be a way around things, and you just got to find it, and you just got to work hard and keep your head down and grind, because some days it's going to kick you down and you're going to feel completely discouraged and thinking that it's not going to be impactful, but you got to stay true to your vision and you just got to keep working.
No, I think it's going to help a lot of people. There's so many people out there trying things, especially in what today is. Like
Yeah,
people just want to do it. They want to work for themselves. That's what it
yeah,
is,
that's
you
true.
know? And, some of them are still working full-time jobs. Some of them took a leap maybe too early,
Yeah.
and now they're struggling. But I think one of the biggest keys to take away from this talk is your dedication to what you want to achieve.
Hmm.
That's what I see from you. There's no wavering. Like there's no you when I ask you about it, you perk up, you're excited, like
Yeah,
you're ready to go. And that's why I know that like you're not going to take no for an answer. Like there'll be people that say no,
yeah,
but then you're not going to stop
yeah,
there. That's a no.
yeah,
Okay, cool. And then later on, that no might become a yes.
yeah.
You're like, thank you for your time, move on. And then 2 years down the road, boom, they're hitting you up.
Yeah, you never burn bridges
Yeah.
with someone, because if you burn bridges with them, you're never going to have that opportunity. If someone says no, you thank them for your time, you move on with your day, because you can get 100 no's, but that one yes can blow it up. And then someone's like, oh, you talked to us earlier. I think we want to talk to you now. And if you didn't burn their bridge and you're still friends with them, then you keep growing. So
Yep.
I agree.
Yep. That's 100% correct. So you got that going on. You got upcoming marathon in a few months. You know, what what do you think the next step is? Where do you want to be at the, end of the year or next year? Like one full year once you launch the product, or where do you want to be?
So yeah, we have a lot of different goals as far as in our company of what we want to be, where we want to sell our product at. So whether that's online, just on our direct site, and then within a year we want to start branching off into golf courses. And you got to test the product because it's something that's completely new. So we want to test the market, see what it's like, and I think that's going to be our first year is going to be dedicated towards a bunch of tests, and we're never gonna. We have a hypothesis of what we think is going to happen, but we could be completely wrong. So I think the first year is going to be really towards testing, but at the end of the year, um, after that marathon, I want to start. I'm going to do something else. I'm going to find something else to keep challenging me. So I have different ideas. I don't know if it's going to be running still or if it's going to be something fitness related. I don't know if it's going to be something that's going to keep challenging me though. I can tell you that much because I love trying new things, and I never know if I'm going to be good at it or like it until I do it and get into the trenches with it. So, after this marathon's over, I think I'm leaning towards powerlifting, so I'll have to hit up with you with that one, just to try it out. Because I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll enjoy it so much more than regular strength training or running.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep trying new things, and a lot of people like doing the same thing over and over and they get really good at it, and which yeah, I agree with that to a point, but I like starting from scratch and building myself up. It's just something that I enjoy, starting from day one and seeing where I can get myself to, studying those what seem like unrealistic goals, and then just building them every single day, getting closer to them until I knock them off. I want to end my life really satisfied with what I did and what I've accomplished, and not have a single regret. That's one thing I really worry about is, uh, you know, finishing my life here and meeting the person who I could have potentially been. That terrifies me. I don't want to meet someone who I wish I could have been. I want to be that person. So
Yeah, I think a lot of people that are motivated throughout life have that same feeling.
yeah,
Live life with no regrets and take risk. If you fail, get up, go again. Try something different. And so it's really cool to see you have that at such a young age, and you're trying, you're putting yourself out there and you're doing your best every single day to better yourself and create something that could help so many other people.
yeah,
So it's super awesome. I think this has been a great way for people that don't have any idea who you are to know who you are. Like, know that you are a driven young man, to see what's going to happen with Phor. Like, what, the golf community, they might be hit by something they've never seen before, and
Yeah,
that's exciting.
yeah, I'm really excited to bring something new to them, and they're either going to be receptive to it or they're going to deny it, but it's going to happen. I'm too determined to make this work. So,
Well, just remember, our past generations thought the internet was a fad.
yep.
So, now look at us. Me and you are on a video chat
Yep.
across the country. I'm in Atlanta, you're in Arizona,
Yep.
where it looks to be sunny and everything. It's sunny here, so I'm
Yeah.
excited about that. I've been doing a few outside workouts this week, so that's been nice. But dude, thank you for your time. It was great catching up with you. And let people know how they can reach out to you. Social media, website, give them all the details.
Yeah. So all my personal social media is at Matt Ericksen 17. Ericksen is spelled Ericksen, and then 17. And then everything Phor related is at Phor Golf, and our website is phorgolf.com. So definitely hit us up. Subscribe to the newsletter. Make sure we keep you updated everything that's going on. And most of the time, if you're on the newsletter, you get access to some pretty cool deals way before everyone else gets them. So
Awesome. And I'll link all that description below. So
cool.
you guys make sure you follow Matt, check out Phor, and stay tuned for what he's got coming later this summer. And, it's super exciting. Thank you again for your time, Matt. And
Yeah,
I look forward to catching up with you later.
I appreciate it. Thank you, David.
All right. See ya.
See ya.